So the San Diego State Aztecs, hey, they were one of the San Diego teams that were able to win over the weekend here. They beat Ohio 20-13, their first game of their football season. Wasn't great attendance, but I'm not surprised by that. I mean, they were playing a team from the MAC. It's not Ohio State they were playing. And the game was at 4:00. And Snapdragon, there's not a lot of shade there. So it's not surprising that the attendance, it was like what, maybe half of the stadium was filled. And if you were watching that game on FS1, there was a ton of empty seats on, I think it was the east side of the stadium, because that's where there's no shade. Not surprising. But student section was pretty filled up there, at least for part of the game. And it was a positive win, I thought, from San Diego State, because they were able to finish. Sometimes last year they weren't able to finish games, but they were able to do that here. They got 3 interceptions. They led 10-6 at halftime. Jalen Maiden to Mark Redmond. I feel like we're going to see that a lot this year. Saw that twice yesterday in that win. And Ryan Lindley, new Aztecs offensive coordinator, he mentioned that. I forget who he mentioned that to, but going into this game before this season, I think he mentioned it to the Union Tribune, that they're going to create some spots for Mark Redmond to be open and where he's going to get opportunities. And they did that yesterday. Now, will they be able to do that against UCLA or Oregon State or Boise State or Air Force? That's obviously a question. And that's going to be something that will be answered here in the coming weeks. That remains to be seen. But from what I saw yesterday, Jake Browning, the kicker, good performance. And they were able to take advantage of some of Ohio's mistakes, the interceptions, the missed field goal that they had that went wide left. And I do want to be fair, though, to Ohio. They had their backup quarterback in, I think, in the second quarter. So that takes a little bit away from the Aztecs win, for me at least. But they did what they were supposed to do. They won the game. That's all that matters. I'm not going to overreact and be like, Mountain West champs, here we come. Not going to do that, because it is just one game. And what I care about more is what the Aztecs do, not even next weekend against Idaho State at Snapdragon, but what do they do against UCLA? What do they do against Oregon State? What do they do against Boise State? What do they do against Air Force? And those are all consecutive games, by the way. That's 4 consecutive weeks, or 4 consecutive games. I think 4 consecutive weeks. UCLA, Oregon State, Boise State, Air Force. I think that's going to be tough. That's going to be a real test for this Aztecs team. So what is their record going to be out of that? That's what I care about more. And that's when I'll proclaim, like, okay, maybe Mountain West champs coming for the regular season. We'll see what happens here. For me, it was like, okay, it was a good win. Saw some encouraging things, like Maiden to Redmond. Like, that was obviously a big takeaway. Like, that could be something that we see a lot of this season. And they got what they should have got done. So, good win for the Aztecs.